Hello and welcome, and thank you for watching. This is an inspired video because of these new candidates that are not just running for office, but also exposing more ideas to the mainstream. And I'm so grateful for what is happening right now, regardless of who wins in November. So, regardless of this system of winners and losers, this is exciting that RFK and Nicole Shanahan are sharing ideas with the public. Far greater reach than I can imagine. And I am so inspired and so grateful and so happy to share this with you. Now, I'm going to start with this 1 second where what I think when people talk about RFK, people I know, they don't have direct quotes from him. They haven't actually sat down and listened to an interview with him. And there is a lot of schmear from both the RNC and the DNC. I think the RNC puts them through the videos, and the DNC is following him around with the trailer that's smearing him, and so on and so forth. So whenever I've heard somebody talk about him, they say the exact opposite of what he stands for. And I'm not sure what the problem is with the getting a woman who has knowledge of tech involved in government, who also has passion for the soil and for human life, and doesn't support war. So I'm going to do my best to just show you the highlights and more to come. And thanks for watching. I'm just getting started. And I hope that this video sounds and the quality and everything is awesome so that you can be inspired too. Let's go to Nicole.
As recently as a year ago, I really did Kennedy because I didn't know much about him. All I had was a mainstream media narrative that was effectively telling me horrible, disparaging things. But then a friend who's here today pulled me aside and she said, "Nicole, please do me a favor. Just listen to an interview with Bobby Kennedy, just one." So I did. And then I listened to another one and then another one. And I recognized that the person who I was seeing in these interviews was the exact opposite of the media slander of his character.
True.
I saw a person of intelligence, of compassion, and of reason. I saw a fellow lawyer who had committed himself to finding the truth and fighting for the environment and for people. I discovered a person who speaks out on issues that, even though they are critically important to human health and welfare, are consistently ignored by our government. And for the first time in a long time, I felt hope for our democracy again. We can do this.
Oh,
it's possible.
Yeah.
One of those issues also happens to be a passion of mine and a focus of my philanthropic work: chronic disease. I got into it through my own journey of reproductive health, followed by a steep learning curve for caring for my daughter who has an autism diagnosis.
Okay, so we can get into the nit and grit of it, but just wanted to share that piece first of, like, if you already think you know RFK, you probably don't, unless you've actually done what her friend suggested she do. I suggest the same. And what's so great about him is he's gone on every podcast you can think of. It's amazing. And I hope he continues to go further. I don't think either candidate can sit down and talk for 2 hours about real things. And every podcast is different. Like, this is a wealth of information, a wealth of perspective, a wealth of being able to speak freely, not cuffed to their donors, to the corporations that pretty much run the country. This is like big hope. And I'm just keeping my heart open to the possibility of not only them winning, but even if they don't win, of this being a huge impact and a future that is brighter before the two of these, before Nicole and RFK got together. I feel like we've entered into a paradigm of possibility that wasn't there last week. And I am so excited and so grateful. So let's hear some more of her highlights. So, a little bit more about Nicole's history. Her background is really amazing. Even in high school, she did great things. I thought I was like hip, starting, the Rainforest Conservation Club and the Recycling Club in my hometown high school. But she went to El Salvador after a civil war. And if you think your candidate's anti war, he's not. He's not. He's not. He's not. He's not. The current one definitely is not anti war. The previous one, he might claim that, but he's not anti violence. You know that. He says go beat them up. He says a lot of things that are violent in nature. So if we just take war down to violence, he's not anti. Okay? So I love this little bit right here. She's going to talk about her experience as a junior in high school. And then she's going to talk about some war stuff.
Experience. And that set me up for this lifetime of political consciousness. I applied for a program to live with families in El Salvador. In praying with these families and helping them rebuild after the civil war there, I learned what war really is. I learned how it rips lives apart, it brutalizes children, how it visits unspeakable horror on the innocent. And I also learned the resilience of the human spirit and its infinite capacity to heal, to forgive, and to restore. El Salvador is where I came to understand war, but more importantly is where I also came to understand peace. That is what inspired me to my first political action in high school. At the onset of the Iraq War, I became an anti-war activist. Yes. If I'm being honest, I didn't really know how to do it. I printed pamphlets and I led a walkout, and we went to our local radio station. But I knew in my bones then that violence begets more violence. I'd seen what that does to society, and I didn't want my country, the country I love so dearly, to be doing that in the world. Yeah.
Woo!
So these are two of my political convictions I hold today: to serve peace and to help those in poverty. Yeah. So you can understand why I gravitated to the Democratic Party, because that was supposed to be the party of peace, the party of compassion. Many Democrats, we still believe in those ideals, but unfortunately, as an institution, it has lost its way. There is only one anti-war candidate today, and you won't find him in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. He is an independent, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Right. That's right. That's what I was saying. So, you don't like war? RFK's your guy. Kennedy Shanahan. How great does that sound? Shanahan sounds Irish too. I mean, maybe she's Irish. I should know these things. I'm learning as I go. But she's definitely half Chinese as well, and she's adorable. So, just wow that this is happening. Just wow, this is happening. And I did like previous candidates, like Yang, and I love Marianne Williamson. And this just seems a little bit more realistic, little bit more possible. And the resources the two of them have are a lot different than the others. That even if they don't win, they could do great things in the future. So let's hear some more. So for her, one of her passions or topics, platforms, chronic disease. Now, this is something I briefly discussed when I talk about Polovs, my plants only low oil whole foods, and that I recently discovered that about a year and change, and it's been life changing, and it's so good for the planet, and it's so good for your body to eat that way. I don't know how she particularly eats. I don't know if she's totally off animal products. That's not what this is about. But chronic disease, why is there so much of it? Why didn't they have it 100 years ago? This is a whole separate podcast I can go into and show you other videos and proof of what's happening with our environment and our food. So, hearing her talk about this, I don't if you've never heard of a PFOA, check out check out some stuff on that. There's a great movie. And I just blanked out on his name. Mark Ruffalo. Oh my gosh, Ruffalo sounds like, what is the nonstick stuff called? Teflon? Mark Ruffalo. Look up his movie about PFOAs if you want to watch it in an entertaining way based on a true story with an amazing human being he portrays. And there's more to it that she's going to say. This may.
We are facing a crisis in reproductive health that is embedded in the larger epidemic of chronic disease. Because it has been so personal for me and my daughter, I got deep into the research and consulted some of the best scientists and doctors. Let me tell you what I found. There are three main causes. One is the toxic substances in our environment, like endocrine disrupting chemicals in our food, water, and soil, like the pesticide residues, the industrial pollutants, the microplastics, the PFAs, the food additives, and the forever chemicals that have contaminated nearly every human cell. Yes, and it makes you angry to hear this. It makes me angry to say it because we shouldn't be here right now. Second is electromagnetic pollution. You don't hear politicians talking much about that either, but it is something we need to look at. As Bobby says, we need to investigate every possible cause of chronic disease epidemic that is devouring our nation from the inside. Third, I'm sorry to say, is our medications. Pharmaceutical medicine has its place, but no single safety study can assess the cumulative impact of one prescription on top of another prescription and one shot on top of another shot on top of another shot throughout the course of childhood. We just don't do that study right now, and we ought to. We can, and we will. Conditions like autism used to be 1 in 10,000. Now here in the state of California, it is 1 in 22.
1 in 22. What? That sounds crazy. 1 in 22? What? What? All right. So you get the gist, don't you? She's freaking awesome. I just want to go and like listen to her all day long. She's so kind. She's so sweet. It's not like how I would do it. The rage in my heart. So she's going to go on to say that she's tried to actually take action on this and has not been able
to. 22 children affected. Allergies, obesity, anxiety, depression, our children are not well. Our people are not well, and our country will not be well for very much longer if we don't heed this desperate call for attention. I've spoken to our government agencies. Trust me, I've tried. I've spoken to senators, I've spoken to governors. They all know something is wrong, but none of them take any action. There is only one candidate I have met for president who takes the chronic disease epidemic seriously. It is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and I will be his ally in making our nation healthy again. Yes.
You?
It is not about a new pill or, quote, finding the cure. We know the cure is cleaning up our environment and providing the basic public goods that are the foundational conditions for health and healing. It is about a shift in our priorities. It is about compassion. Chronic disease, addiction, poverty, depression, this is where Americans are hurting the most. It is time for politicians to listen. So here is how the Kennedy Shanahan ticket is going to end the chronic disease epidemic. While Bobby is focused on ending the corporate capture of our regulatory agencies, I am going to assemble the best technologists and scientists in the world, and we will use the latest in AI and computation to examine the health records databases of our nation and those other nations who are also on a quest to solve chronic disease. We will find the answers.
I have some answers. I have some food. I know some things.
We will find the answers
I mean, I don't have the answers,
to
but I
our
can
most
point.
pressing health concerns within weeks,
Talking to
not
Google.
decades. We can if we have access to those databases. It is time to move out of the dark ages of medicine. We can solve the mysteries guarded by corporate influence. We can move from Band-Aid solutions, and we can end this chronic disease epidemic once and for all. I believe it.
These are issues everybody cares about. There's not a person who doesn't care about their health. There's not a person who doesn't care about feeling good, feeling healthy, not being radiated all the time. And if you think you're one of those people who don't care about that, it's probably because you're on the pharmaceuticals and on the food that's not food that's making you not care. All right, there I said it. I'm not a politician. Never going to be a politician. Maybe I will. Sorry. Who knows? Maybe politics will change. Maybe people that have strong opinions and speak cuff off their minds will be welcome. I don't know. Seems like there's one guy that did that. He's full of shit. Anyway, I'm babbling and I'm confused where the video stopped and started. So let's see what happens. I wish I had a screen recording, and maybe I should just give you one more. Okay. This is one that's really near and dear my heart. This is what really, really, really sealed the deal on me being a fan of Nicole Shanahan. Excuse me, being a fan of Nicole Shanahan here live. The soil. Now, the only prominent person on the internet that I have seen talk about the soil who gets a lot of views, not that environmentalists aren't talking about it, or people who are supporting farmers and standing up for small farms, not that there aren't movies called Kiss the Ground and many others that talk about this, but besides Sadhguru, I haven't heard anybody talk about the soil. Not a single politician. It's never mentioned on TV. There's nothing. You think you have anti-mainstream media, you think you're in your own, you're not hearing about soil. And if you are, let me know in the comments. So this is actually, I shouldn't have saved it for last. I should have done it at the beginning, but I'll make another one. This is the big.
And I'm going to mention one more issue close to my heart. This has to do with climate.
Zoom in on her. Come on.
My interest in health and solving climate issues has led me to the realm of agriculture. I realize that a nation's health comes down to its soil and the people who work it. Hell yeah. Healthy soil is the foundation of healthy food. It is the foundation of a healthy ecosystem, and it is our answer to the climate crisis. It is the foundation of healthy economy. But what politician besides Bobby Kennedy do you ever hear talking about soil? None. I've produced 2 films on the issue. Common Ground is the latest. We've got some common ground and Kiss the Ground people here. Thank you guys for coming out today. I've talked to Congress people and senators, but all I've gotten are vague promises that never amount to real change. Republicans and Democrats alike have fallen under the sway of big agrochemical companies and food conglomerates. They might invoke the ideal of the family farm, but they have betrayed it again and again. So
I think.
I am entering myself. I know I'm not a politician until just now, but I am entering myself to do this work and to highlight this need because guess what? I've met some of the most innovative American farmers. Their methods rebuild soil, sequester carbon, recharge aquifers, and revitalize the economy. And you know what? We don't have to force anyone to do anything or to imitate them. All we have to do is change our system of regulation and subsidy to support those methods.
That's right. It's not hard.
We can no longer support extractive corporate agriculture. I am so hopeful for this. I hope you all understand now what has brought me into politics.
I am so grateful that she's been brought into politics. I could cry right now. You got this far in the video? Oh. I'm just so excited that somebody's talking about this, that is trying to make a move into politics, and I'm an emotional person and I'm okay with it. The systems are what make the thing messed up. It's these subsidies in the wrong directions, and all the times that they paid farmers to not produce, and the way it works just goes on and on and on. And I mentioned in my last video, like, what if the Green New Deal, supported by perhaps like the hero's journey of all these billionaires, that maybe it's not even tax dollars, maybe it's the hero's journey of billionaires who put in some money, and we buy up some of these big farms and we turn them into small farms again and regenerate it. Like, I haven't seen Common Ground yet, but like Kiss the Ground, and I've just been not doing anything. So I'm so inspired and I want to do more. I want to get involved. I want to help. It just doesn't have to be this way. It's a win-win for everybody if we change the system. And I love how she said it. It's not it could be so simple, and some big corporations might have to take a turn, but they're owned by bigger corporations. These aren't small companies that are going to be hurt. The small farms will be helped. And so with that, I'm going to release this video into the world. I might have to figure out the middle what went bye-bye. But I'm learning as I go, and I'm so inspired, and I'm so full of hope, and I did not expect to have tears at the end of making this video. Just about the soil, and I am so grateful that she is doing this with her life. She doesn't have to. She doesn't have to. It's not a career for her. It's not a moving up the ladder. She's already had a success. She can do anything she wants. She can invest in companies. She can start companies. She can just relax for the rest of her life. This is like real passion. This isn't so that she can get richer or have people stay at her golf course, to visit her when she's in office. This isn't to keep the system in the same way as the system, as some of these politicians have been politicking for so long. This is the real deal. And it's just like most of us are so numb and don't believe there's hope and are pieced out on politics altogether. And so for those who are involved, think this is a long shot. But for those who've never been involved in politics and who've never voted, if they mobilize, when they talk about, like, it was the biggest turnout last year of 70 million and 75 million people. It's only half the population. Now, I don't think under 18 is half the population. So there's still a big chunk of human beings who didn't vote. And I feel like there's a lot of hope. All right. Well, that's all. Thanks for watching. See you soon.